Hey guys, welcome to One Piece chapter 1086 live reaction. I'm going to do this in one shot in a video shot from my phone because Streamlabs is causing me a little bit of issues right now. So, without further ado, before we get into the title page, there's Luffy and Garp, Kobe. That the jump cover, yeah, the jump cover looks pretty good. Garp is my favorite character, so it's pretty good to see him front and center. There's a color page, them dancing in a puddle. Like I said, it's gonna be scuffed. I'm gonna have to mute this tab for now. Okay. No rain, no rainbow. I'm not really sure what this means, and I'm not even sure how it's possible to have rainbows in a flat puddle when the sky is not rainy. Doesn't really make a lot of sense, but One Piece physics, you know, you never know. Okay, we're in Marijois. The reverie came to an end, with the truth of King Cobra's death still being concealed. Makes sense, they still needed to do the video editing or whatever they did to the Denden Mushi's picture last chapter. We see last chapter panel where Denden Mushi snaps a photo of Sabo standing above King Cobra's corpse. We know that that photo has been taken from inside the throne room, so it should have actually shown Imu and the Gorosei in frame. That's at least what I think. So either they manipulated the video somehow afterwards in editing or something like that, or alternatively, when they transform into whatever they transform into, they become invisible to stuff like cameras or mirrors and stuff like that, kind of like vampires don't really get caught on cameras, or you don't see their reflections, basically. I'll keep reading. Oh, and before I keep reading, I'll just notify you guys what I think so far about what my theory is about Imu. I think Imu is Lily, who is possessed by an entity called Imu, and this entity might either be male or female, it doesn't really matter. But either way, this entity, I believe, is of alien origin, but this is just another side of my theory. It's not really the central premise. The central premise is that Imu isn't really Imu. Imu is just an entity that is residing inside the body of Lily right now, so she's serving as the host for Imu. So for all intents and purposes, Imu is Imu, and Lily doesn't exist anymore. It's only her body. Chapter 1086, The Five Elders. Has anybody seen Princess Vivi of Arabasta Kingdom? Oh yeah, we have, what's his name? I'm not gonna remember. But the cross-dresser guy looking for Vivi. Is that two posters of Vivi? Yep, looks like it. Where's our king? He's seriously ill. Oh, Pell. Hello, Pell. I want to make sure I'm not really missing anything. I'm on the first page so far. Where's our king? Oh, I'm reading on OP scans, by the way, if you guys want to follow. I don't really get what this is. It's like one of the guards is seeing Pell. Pell's asking one of the guards if he saw their king. Okay. On the ships of the monarchs returning home, some stowaways hold their breath. Hey, which country ship is this? It's the Aegis Kingdom ship. Again, I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing anything in the panels. It looks like Marines are walking around. looks like Vivi and Wapol are stowing away. We are on the Aegis Kingdom's ship, Morgan's. Oh, he's communicating with Morgan's through Denmushi while he's on the ship. They're whispering to each other, so I guess Vivi's cooperating with him, giving information to Morgan's. Got it. I'll approach the ship at the headquarters under the guise of an interview. While they do that, you sneak in here and don't get caught. I owe you one. The big news to the extent that the life of a country's king is being threatened. I was debating with my friends in the recent chapters, what is it that Big News Morgan said at the time is we see a scene, it's pretty hyped up in the anime as well, but in the manga it was also pretty decent, where Morgan's saying, oh, how much are the government offering for me to shut this whole story up? Then he sees a pretty large sum, and he's like, oh, that's not even nearly enough for me to circumvent this story. So and then a CP member from his team, apparently like an undercover agent, pulls a gun at him, and then Morgan beats the shit out of him. So I was wondering, what secret of the government is it that he's basically trying to publish regardless of the outcome? And it looks like it's just Cobra's death. I was expecting a little bit more than that. Like maybe something about Imu and something about the empty throne not being really empty. Something that really warrants him giving up a huge money reward, but I don't know. So what do you see, Wapol? He is still freaking the fuck out. I can't tell you. Oh, what did you see, Wapol? I can't tell you. You're the last person I want to tell. Just go back to your ship. Before I keep reading on the other part of his message, this is really strange. It seems like he's refusing to share what he saw, and this is another thing I was discussing with my friends, whether or not he shared this information with Morgan, specifically about the existence of Imu and the throne not being empty, and the Gorosi being shadow monsters or whatever they are. But it seems he's not willing to say anything. Sabo's not willing to say anything. And it's kind of strange because, sure, like, knowing this information could be dangerous because if the government knows that you know this, they're going to kill you. But I mean, the government's trying to kill Sabo anyway. They're trying to kill the revolutionaries anyway. So I think it's something more than that. I think it might be a piece of information that if you know it, then Imu knows who knows it. Imu is aware exactly who knows this information and who's being told this information, or at least the extent that this information spread is somehow knowable to the government. So there are dire circumstances to sharing, not just from arbitrarily the government putting you on their hit list, because it seems that even people who are already very, very high on the government's hit list are still not willing to talk about it, and they want to keep their mouth shut, which is really interesting. No, this is a CP0 I'm dealing with now. Even if I regroup with everyone, they would surely take me by force. That's Vivi speaking? Yes. Oh yeah, she escaped from the CP0. Let me use the transponder snail. I must contact my father. He's probably worried right now. I can guarantee that is not the case. No, that's absolutely the one thing you must not do. No, I thought the one thing she must not do is hear about Imu. So that's the second thing she must not do. Why? Vivi's pissed. Is that Stelly freaking out over how hot Vivi is? And is that the CP0 agent pretending to help look for her? And more CP agents, from what it seems like, looking for Sabo. Tajane Kingdom's ship's hold. I'm hungry. Bonnie is also stowing away. Poof, if I make it to Lelucia, Sabo's also stowing away. The security and the docks of Mary Joa are fucking atrocious. How the fuck are these notorious people managing to just slip onto ships and hide there like it's nobody's business? Don't these ships get inspected? Oda, come on now. Could have at least made some variety in the way that they managed to get out of the situation. At least make them all leave on the same ship so that it doesn't turn out that every single ship has shitty security. Huff, I'm counting on you, Sabo. Cobra, survive at any cost. Oh yeah, Sabo's fucked up. What about your Logia powers? I mean, I'm aware that something in the last chapter must have had Haki involved in that tale somehow, or some other devil fruit neutralizing capability, because there's a variety of ways to disable devil fruits at this point. Before long, the news about the murder of King Cobra of the Arabasta Kingdom, and from the same kingdom the disappearance of Princess Vivi, known throughout the world. Holy Man Mary Jo, that's Sabo. Okay, back to normal form. Is also a man who carries the checkered fate. I doubt there's anyone else whose life is as surrounded by D's as his. So that's confirmation that Sabo is not Sadbo. He's not an actual Sadbo, he is just Sabo, and he happens to just have the circumstances in which he's surrounded by D's. Gotcha. Yes, Lord Emu. I think it's about time. Okay, there's direct communication with Emu through the network. I would expect a little bit more secrecy from you guys, especially given the fact that you have a glory hole right into the empty throne room where you guys sit and chill with Emu, apparently. Yeah, what is that glory hole even doing there? I don't know. I think it's about time we settled the Egghead matter. Flower room. Did we know that that's what it was called? I don't remember. The weapon created by Vegapunk, Mother Flame. I want to use it. Are we gonna see some pretty cool Vegapunk tech? I really hope the thing that destroyed Lelucia is not just the government exploiting Vegapunk tech. I really hoped it was like Emu's power, and it's that they're actually that insanely powerful, and it's not just them using their knowledge of the old kingdoms. Mother Flame? Did Vegapunk say anything about Mother Flame? I think he might have said something about it in Egghead. Oh, he was talking about an eternal source of energy that could power all of the nations forever. Yeah. So is that like fusion power, something like a self-contained sun, maybe? Use it. So it just produces infinite energy, I'm assuming, and Vegapunk's just crazy enough to come up with an infinite energy device, like some actual perpetual motion bullshit. That's right, we need to test it to see if it's real, if it's the real deal or not. Let's decide what to do with Egghead depending on the experiment results. We can test it on the sea, or rather a forest. Do it on the Lelucia Kingdom. That just answered my question. So it was Vegapunk's infinite energy technology that destroyed Lelucia Kingdom. It was the artificial sun that was supposed to provide electricity and light for nations, and they used it to destroy Lelucia. I could see how this is really good for world building and the plot and the overarching things of One Piece, but I wanted some kind of more deeper mystery to what Emu is, and now it appears it could just literally be a noble that is immortal. It doesn't even have to be immortal, but just a noble with a lot of power and influence that rules over the entire world that has access to like Vegapunk's shit. So I think it a little bit lowers my opinion of Emu, even though it is kind of my fault for having kind of maybe an unreasonable expectation of what Emu actually is, and to think it's more mystical or fantastical than that. I was always thinking that it had something more to do with cartooniness, just like Luffy is. But there's a lot of people there. I don't care. Is this genuine worry or concern from Gorosei? I thought they were actual psychopaths and didn't really have any empathy for anybody. It seems he's actually trying to stand up to Emu in defense of the lives of random strangers in Lelouchia. Understood. The world moves by the will of its creator. That, but why Lelouchia? Wow, okay. This one sentence, the world moves by the will of its creator, is probably one of the biggest reveals we've ever gotten in One Piece. Period. And it's just an off-the-cuff remark. Emu is the creator. He is this formless shadow creature that can manifest tales. The world of One Piece is really unique. It seems that things can manifest by imagination, like Luffy manifests glasses and grabs onto lightning bolts. And besides, devil fruit powers seem to follow certain rules that apply more to stories or cartoons or ridiculous comedies rather than how it applies to an actual logical universe. We've also seen Luffy and Brook drink milk and instantly grow teeth. Now, it's passed off as a gag, just like a lot of things are on One Piece, but it actually happened in canon. So a lot of weird things happen in canon as long as they serve a narrative. I don't want to mess around with my phone too much, but I'm just gonna grab 3 books that I have in a row on my bookshelf by Terry Pratchett. This is from the Bookworld series, the Discworld series, and in this universe, the power of imagination has a real influence on reality, and people's belief has a huge influence on reality. And Vegapunk said on Egghead Island that he's trying to figure out how brainwaves interact with reality, and people's thoughts and wishes and wills interact with reality in order to create certain effects. And he hinted that that is the origin of the power of devil fruits. Basically, people wanting to have certain attributes or really being fascinated by certain ideas, and then the devil fruits are a manifestation of those ideas. In the Discworld novels, it's called anthropomorphic personification, or at least one part of it is, where death, or people's ideas of what death is, happen to manifest as an actual entity in the world called Death, a character in the book or in the books, and it's one of the people's favorite characters, one of the fan favorites. Death is a really amazing character, but in any case, it's not just Death. There's Destiny and a bunch of other stuff in Discworld where, because of people's perceptions of these concepts, out of these beliefs and ideas emerge things that influence reality, like gods and actual entities that have power in the world. So I'm really liking where this is going, if this is really where Oda's taking it, and so far it does seem that he's heavily hinting towards this. I've also had a theory about what the One Piece is, and I think the One Piece is the One Piece. What? What do I mean by that? Well, I think the One Piece is the One Piece manga. It is literally the One Piece manga. It is following the story of Luffy and his crew throughout the world and how they reach Raftel and all that kind of stuff and how they eventually find the One Piece. It is the story of One Piece before its time inscribed on Raftel, and that's why it's laugh tale. It's a funny story, kind of like how One Piece, Luffy and his crew, is a comedy adventure, a funny story, and how Roger could say, oh, we're here before our time, because based on the actual story, they know exactly what's going to happen. And at that point, Roger seemed kind of, he resigned himself to whatever is going to happen 20 years from that point, where the actual person who's going to be the person who's going to bring about the dawn of the new world and all that kind of stuff, who we know as Luffy at this point, or we suspect as Luffy at this point. We never know with Oda, really. You'll never know. Maybe even his main character isn't really the main protagonist at the end goal. You can never tell, really, with the plot twist that this guy does. So we suspect that it's Luffy, the guy who's going to bring about the dawn, but Roger could have known exactly who it's going to be based on him heading out to Raftel and reading the One Piece. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked tremendously just based on this one sentence, and I might want to go back to the chapter, but the world moves by the will of its creator. So Imu is the creator of the world. So did he create the world by imagining it, by fantasizing it, by having a wild, cartoony imagination, by having weird rules about the world and how certain powers apply, and the fact that devil fruits pretty much have infinite energy that's only dependent on their stamina, but like you could create fire ex nihilo out of nothing, just create fire out of nothing. You can use it to create energy out of nothing when it violates the laws that exist in our universe clearly. So our laws of physics do not apply at all to the world of One Piece inherently, so you would expect the creation of the One Piece world to be kind of weird. It might even be a simulation kind of thing where Imu is the programmer that programmed the One Piece universe with all of its kooky things. Or it could be that One Piece is a world that exists as a story, as a dream, as something like that. That the entire universe, that the entire One Piece world is imagined by a certain entity, is dreamed by a certain entity that could be Imu. That's at least what this sentence is leading me to believe now. I didn't really think that Imu is a creator, but I did suspect that they are God related because they are celestial dragons. So maybe the dragon creator god or something like that. But again, that is all more boring than the universe being created out of the imagination of certain powerful entities or godlike entities. But why Lelouchia? It's close, indeed. Why does distance play a factor in it? Is it like a short-range missile? Very well. We'll take some time to prepare, please wait. Oh, we get who they actually are. And their names. Holy shit balls. Okay, I'm gonna need to chill a little bit. Sorry, guys. The 5 Elder Stars. I suppose they're starting from Garcia. That kind of makes sense because we already gotten this about him. Military God. Military God of Scientific Defense. Military God, so kind of like the name Yahweh, where in Hebrew, Yovah means, his actual name is Yovah Tzvaot. Tzvaot means armies in Hebrew. So Yovah Tzvaot, Yahweh of the armies. He's a military god. Originally, at least, he was worshipped as a military god in a pantheon. And in this sense, so Garcia is Yahweh. He's the god of war. Scientific defense. The Lucia Kingdom citizens are showing signs of rebellion there. They picked up on that fucking quickly, but Sabo's there in real time right now stirring up the rebellion. I mean, sure, they would get information, but like in real time, that quickly, be informed that quickly? I mean, okay. Unless it's been stirring it for a while already. Five Elder Stars. Well, I suppose the actual official translation would say something like the Five Elder Planets. Military god of environment. Oh, they're all military gods. Never mind. They're all Yahwehs. Nope, there's one warrior god. He has a different moniker. Environment. The red line is an environmental feature that seems artificial. Are they all immortal? Environment. Sky Islands, the clouds that make the Sky Islands, seem to be ecological engineering on a massive planetary scale. George R.R. Martin has written a series of sci-fi books where he has a group called the Ecological Engineering Corps, and they used to be an extremely powerful group of human scientists that flew ships that could completely terraform planets and manufacture any creature you can possibly imagine, and even stuff you can't imagine. It could even manufacture creatures that are designed to imagine better than you can imagine, so that they could imagine creatures better than you can, just to manufacture them for specific purposes. That was the power of the Ecological Engineering Corps. So environment, when it comes to military technology and stuff like that, is very, very, very scary indeed. Maybe even more than scientific defense. St. Marcus Mars. So yeah, it is following the planetary kind of theme, at least with these two. They're separated with a kind of spacer with the other three. I wonder why. And it also seemed like they were separated to exactly these groups while standing on both sides of Cobra. I could be wrong about this though. And Jupiter, Nasujuro. Okay, so their names are based on planets. Yeah, Valkyrie, Mercury, Nasujuro. No idea. I guess it's some kind of Japanese word translation issue. We'll have to wait for a better translation for the names. But Marcus Mars. Okay, J. Garcia Saturn. It might be a good setting of an example. But if you're going to wipe it from history, it's not going to set an example, because you intended to wipe it from history. So by definition, you're not setting an example, because you're now erasing it from being a lesson to the future, because it's erased from history. I don't know. Might be a good example for the Revolutionary Army. Five Elder Stars, military god of law, Saint Topman Valkyrie. Topman? Odd, okay. At any rate, we can use that power as we wish eventually. What is the basis for that power? What is the source of that power? Because I think that even in the world of One Piece, infinite energy creating devices are a bit too much. And there has to be some kind of source for it. Either a devil fruit that if you eat it, you lose your humanity and you turn into an object that others can use to create infinite energy, or something like that. Who knows? Maybe it's an ancient kingdom's technology. Who knows? But I think that basically the basis for that device that Vegapunk is, or the invention that Vegapunk is using, is not Vegapunk's invention, but he's modifying existing tech or devil fruits or stuff like that to create infinite energy. Military god of finance and a sword. I would think that he had more to do with war than any of the others, but apparently he has the least to do with wars with any of the others. Or does he? I mean, wars do have a lot to do with finance, maybe even more to do with finance than a lot of other things. Ethan Baron, Nasujiro. Well, at least the meaning of the word Ethan means solid, concrete, immovable, kind of like mountains. You stand or standing tall and immovable. That's the meaning of the word Ethan in Hebrew. And again, because of gods and saints and stuff like that, I am assuming that at least some of the Hebrew meanings of words do play a meaning, and there are a lot of Hebrew words in One Piece. It will put an end to long withstanding conflicts with the Lucia Kingdom, who's just now starting a rebellion. Or again, are they talking about with the revolutionary armies? Five Elder Stars, warrior god of agriculture, Saint Shepherd, Jew Peter. The island that Usopp was sent to. And the giant beanstalk on Skypiea. Those are pretty interesting agricultural phenomenon. Oh shit. There's the Adamwood trees and the Evewood trees, and there's the trees in Saboti Archipelago, which are right near Marijoa. And they also happen to be the trees that reach all the way down into Fishman Island that provide light from the sun down underneath. So yeah, again, those are also pretty interesting agricultural features. They also provide all the bubbles for the island and all that kind of stuff. They're the source of the entire archipelago, basically. Of all the at least the biological uniqueness of it. What else could there possibly be except like Usopp's Island adventures and Herculesin? Interesting. I mean, that island is a fascinating place in and of itself. I mean, it has only one resident and seems to have a pretty impossible life cycle going on there. One more thing. Yes, my lord. I want Vivi. Understood. Well, you're not getting Vivi, at least that's the way it seems. Well, okay. I want Vivi. Strengthens my theory that it's Lily's body and that Imu is residing inside of Lily's body. Oh, Lamau, I've just noticed that Imu's Denden Mushi has the giant crown. Yeah, I want Vivi. I believe it has something to do with the immortality surgery, staying transferring Imu's consciousness to yet another Nefertari member. Maybe they can only transfer into members of the D clan, and that's why they needed specifically Lily's body and why they're enemies of the gods. And Vivi is also a D. Maybe maybe the D is the connection between the two things here. But I think Imu wants to take over Vivi's body. I think that's what's going to happen. The Marines. Just the Marines, okay. Oh, the new Marine headquarters area. Yeah. The Tajine Kingdom and the Aegis Kingdom have started a rebellion. The Tajine, who went on the Tajine? Was that Bonnie? Yes. How did Bonnie start a rebellion? Oh, she probably informed the kingdom what happened to Cobra. Oh, it's really easy to spark rebellion in a kingdom by telling the king, hey, if they took out Cobra, who says you're not next? Especially after we just told you what we told you. The government's going to be after you. They're going to wipe you out and find a replacement for you. Holy shit. Deploy all the Seraphim. Crocodile has appeared. at Empty Bluffs Island, Moria, crocodile. The Moria Seraphim is probably the most insane one out of all of them. Out of all of them, yeah. Unless they have one of Law. Why don't they have one of Law, or Buggy, or Blackbeard? I mean, they also were Shichibukai for a little bit. So that they just, like, at one point, just one day, took a snapshot of all existing Shichibukai that happened to exist at that day, and they don't update their genetic database or anything like that. I don't know. But yeah, these three are going to be a serious problem. When I arrived at Lucia Kingdom, I saw King Seki and Princess Komane get captured by the citizens who are waiting for them. As a stowaway, I was welcomed in open arms. That's when I first saw the article in the newspaper and learned that I had been framed as a Kingslayer. They could have probably just translated it as framed me for regicide, but that would have sounded better. As usual, I was treated as a hero, even though I wanted to tell the truth. So all of my words, wait, a hero for killing Cobra? Why are the Lelucia Kingdom against Cobra? So all of my words, I can feel a spirit of revolution in the air. Thanks to the influence of Betty and the others, there were many people in Lucia. Betty straight up brainwashes people, it seems, who wanted to enlist in the revolutionary army. Those were the people I brought here with me. F's in chat for the rest. I couldn't find a jamming transponder, Snail, so I was unable to contact you there. But as soon as we set sail, I made an indirect transmission, which was the call I did at the time. Holy shit, this chapter is so much fucking exposition. I'm feeling like I'm reading Hunter x Hunter right now. What is going on? I'm not complaining. We haven't seen Luffy in what feels like 3 years already, 3.5 years. I'm not complaining. This is some 10 out of 10 shit. But goddamn, it's tiring to reread so much fucking text. Holy shit. And it's just exposition and more info dumps and more info dumps. I was talking recently with a few friends of mine, sorry for the sidetracking just a little bit, but I've had some talks with friends of mine about the fact that there's going to be a month break after this chapter. And I was thinking that it kind of feels like Oda's kind of slowing down the pace in which he releases chapters slowly over time, and I was joking that I'm hoping he's not going to reach Togashi levels of hiatuses and stuff like that, where Hunter x Hunter gets like chapters once every few years on average. So I was hoping it's not going to be like that, and that he's now trying to do a rush job just so he'll be able to be done with One Piece before he dies. Oda is not very young, he's not very old either, but he's not getting any younger either, and I suppose it worries him that something like Miura would happen to him, where he has an unfinished story of One Piece and disappointing all of the fans, which would be really tragic that Oda dies, especially because of One Piece, but also